So we're going to talk about some huge news that we just received yesterday, and that is the Supreme Court has approved Texas new redistricting map. So it is official. The ref blew the whistle, and we got 5 more Republican seats because, of course, you know, liberals, they pushed back. A liberal judge struck this map down, and wanted to tell them that they had to use a 2020 map or something along those lines, 2020 or 2021. And yeah, Supreme Court said no, they're allowed to do it. And so, yeah, I want to talk about that. Plus, we got some other news because Democrats aren't done fighting. Yeah, I know. Crazy news, as well as some more Republicans stepping up to the plate as well. But before we get into all of that, let's take a look at CNN, because of course, you know, they don't like this news, but they're talking about it. Let's dive in.
Breaking news in our law and justice lead, and a major update from the U.S. Supreme Court on that Texas redistricting case. You'll remember Republicans in the state, in an unusual mid-decade review, redrew the maps, the congressional maps, earlier this year. Let's get right to CNN Chief Supreme Court Analyst Joan Biskupic. Joan, what is the latest news from the U.S. Supreme Court?
Very big news, Jake, both politically and legally. The Supreme Court, the conservative majority over the dissent of the 3 liberals, has said that Texas can use the map that it drew last summer to provide potentially 5 new districts that could flip Republican and enhance the Republican majority in the U.S. House. And what they said is that a special U.S. District Court panel that had invalidated this map, saying it was drawn on unconstitutional racial lines, that Texas had actually divided people up by race. This district court had said that, and Texas had come up here and appealed it, backed by the Trump administration. Today, the Supreme Court majority said no, that this map deserved more deference from the district court. The district court should have taken into account a presumption of legislative good faith. That's been a standard that Chief Justice John Roberts and Justice Samuel Alito have been really pushing over the years, to sort of let states do what they want to do, even if there could be a cloud of racial division there. So you had the conservative majority essentially now locking in this new Texas map that you remember has triggered all this off-year redistricting throughout the country, and at the goading of President Trump to shore up his majority. Let me tell you a little bit about what the liberal dissenters said had happened here. Justice Kagan.
Don't care. So yeah, you can kind of see here. Might be a little bit hard to see depending on what you're looking at this on. But you see here, they shrunk the blue districts into just the major cities. The Dallas, the San Antonio, the Austin, and the Houston. They shrunk those districts to just those cities and swamped everywhere else, and made it absolutely blood red. So, you know, you love to see it. +5, you love to see it. Great stuff. Great stuff. And, you know, listen, of course, Democrats aren't going to like it. And when I was looking up, you know, all of this information for this video, I actually came across the clip. Apparently, this is Democrat State Representative Robin Shackelford. Okay. It looks like she might be from Indiana, maybe. But anyway, you guys have to hear what she says. Because Indiana may possibly redistrict. As a matter of fact, they're in the process of doing so. Listen to what this Democrat had to say. You're not going to be shocked, but it's just so annoying when I hear Democrats constantly doing stuff like this. Check.
This is more than political performance. This is a clear, strategic, manipulated, Hitler-type plan of control.
Oh my goodness. Whenever you get any type of controversy, any type of pushback, any type of movement from Republicans, just compare it to Hitler. Like, what does redistricting have to do with Hitler? Can anybody explain that to me? My goodness. My goodness. And, you know, I also came across this image, and this is absolutely beautiful. Whenever you're having any discussions with liberals, right, just mention this right here, okay? Whenever they have any issues, mention these states. You know, you see 36% Republican, 0 seats. 42% Republican, 0 seats. 46, 0, 46, 0, 48, 42, 32, 38, 42, 0% representation for Republicans in these states, although they are over 40% red. Where is the complaint? I mean, where don't you guys see the double standard here? Where is the complaints about them redistricting? Because redistricting is so terrible. Remember, that's what these liberals are saying. Redistricting is so bad. You can't redistrict. That's horrible. Well, where were those complaints when you all did it? Oh, it's fine if you do it, but it's a problem if we do it. And here's the issue that they're going to run into. Also, Florida, some great news is that Florida is in the process of redistricting as well. So they're absolutely going to lose their minds over that one. So Florida could possibly add up to 5 more seats as well. So that's a total of 10. So Gavin Newsom is already X'd out. He's already canceled out with Texas alone, right? Because California added 5. Texas is adding 5. But if Florida hops on and they add 5, well, now we're 5 up, right? So, and then, talks of Indiana. I saw something about South Carolina, amongst other states as well. So, hey, listen, they're not going to win this one. They're absolutely not going to win this one here. Now, I want to play this clip here about Virginia, because like I said earlier in this video, Virginia, they're attempting to push back. And this gentleman here is a Democrat representative from the state. I guess his name is Scott. But take a listen to what he has to say, because I don't think it's going to happen. But check it out.
Now it's 6-5 Democrats, 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans. 10-1 is not out of the realm. And I think, you laugh. I'm not joking.
I think it's
no, 10-1 is not out of the realm to be able to draw the maps in a succinct, community-based way. But we're going to take a look at it. Now it's 6-5 Democrats, 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans. 10-1 is not out of the realm. And
so they think they're going to redraw the Virginia map to make it 10-1, when right now it's 6-5. Basically split down the middle, 6-5. They think they're going to change it to 10-1. I did a little digging, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to make that happen, especially before the midterm elections come next year. Even if they do succeed in making it happen, it's not going to be before those midterms. But I did find that interesting. Right? Also want to talk about what J.D. Vance had to say in this clip here, because it is massively important and really shifts the balance of power, because there's a multitude of things working here, right? First off, we have this, Republican states redistricting, right? But then also, actually, I'm going to play this one other clip back again. I know I've shown you guys this before in the past, full disclosure, but just to reiterate things for those of you that may not have seen this, and to show that there's multiple layers to this, I'm going to play this other clip again. Check it out.
Actually represents pretty accurately, mathematically, how the country is divided over the question of the presidency. But if you look at this is what the party pickups would be for congressional districts. Republicans, 5. Missouri, 1. North Carolina, 1. Ohio, 2 or 3. Indiana, 1 or 2. Florida, still discussion down there, but that could be another gold mine for them if they tipped it even further their way. Kansas, 1. New Hampshire, 1. And Nebraska. Democrats, Utah, California, Maryland. Look at this. If you offset California and Texas, Missouri and Utah, North Carolina and Maryland, everything left over is an advantage to the Republicans. And don't forget, the Supreme Court is considering what could really be the end of the Voting Rights Act, which would protect minority groups. So you don't have a state that's half black, for example, that elects only one congressional member and everybody else goes to the Republicans that would represent that population in some ways. So if that is gutted, Democrats could lose 19 seats. This would be a huge amount. But this is also a measure of how much the White House is concerned about this, because Donald Trump knows if the Democrats get the House again, there could be new investigations just like last time. There could be a new impeachment. There could be a lot of impediment to these plans that right now the Republicans in the House and Senate are letting run like a freight train.
Yeah.
So Democrats could lose 19 seats just off of the Supreme Court ruling. Now, there's 19 there. I want to go back to the map he had up. There's 2, 3, we'll say 3 from Florida, right? So there's 6, 7, 8. We'll go 9. We'll give 1 for that, right? And then South Carolina is possibly on the in the lineup as well. So we'll just stick with 9. We'll just stick with 9. So there's 28 new Republican seats just off of those 2 things, redistricting and the Supreme Court ruling. Now let's move to the next point, right? I'll let JD Vance take it away. Check it out.
Yeah, so another crazy thing that I had no idea about, but everybody, even Democrats actually admit this, that the census in 2020 had a major statistical error. And what that meant is that you actually undercounted a few states that are Republican, like Florida and Ohio. You overcounted some blue states. And so what I understand, if you actually did the census anew right now, you would have 10 additional Republican seats and 9 fewer Democrat seats. And
so my count was at 28. You just heard JD Vance. He said 10 new Republican seats, 38 new House Republicans, 38. That is an utter catastrophe for the Democrat Party. Utter catastrophe. Now, do I project it to actually be that high of a number? No. That's obviously best case scenario if all of the cards fall right? That is best case scenario. Nearly 40 seats is absolutely mind-boggling. Woo! Woo! Talk about the Democrats absolutely being powerless. You know, honestly, I kind of want to see that happen just so I can see how the Democrats, react to all of this, knowing that they're absolutely powerless. Okay? That would be some pretty entertaining stuff. It would give me a lot to talk about here. But realistically, I'd probably cut it in half. I'd probably say maybe not even half. I might go, geez. So if it was 48, 10 comes from the census, right? And now we're deporting illegals. Hopefully illegals aren't even counted in this next census. I honestly, now that I'm really thinking about all of the different nuances to this, I really don't know. 48, 10, so 10, 29. I think a conservative number might be 35, because I've heard from a credible source that the Supreme Court is more than likely going to strike down the Voting Rights Act, right? So there's 19 there, okay? Obviously, the census isn't going to happen until 2030, so we got a long ways until then, but there's another 10 guaranteed, especially if illegals aren't counted. I think if illegals aren't counted, it might be even worse than that, to be completely honest. I don't even know why illegals are counted in our census anyway. That's crazy to me. That's so stupid. Why do we count illegals in the census? Anyway, so where are we at? We were at 19 plus the 10, there's 29, and then we'll say we get Florida to redistrict. There's 3. We'll go with the lower number, 3. There's 32. And then maybe a couple more states. So, yeah, 35. I feel like 35 is a conservative number. Now, once again, that 10 isn't going to come until 2030. So it's really going to be about 25, right? So we'll say 25. But that's 25 more Republican seats when we already have the majority. Ain't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? So once again, don't buy into the nonsense when these Democrats always preach doom and gloom. The Republican Party is falling apart. Oh, don't buy into it. Don't buy into it. It's actually them that's falling apart, the internal fighting between the old guard and the new guard in the Democrat Party. Now, we have our own battle as well with the rhinos and whatnot, but it's not to the extent that the Democrat Party is at, right? So, yeah, man. I think things, considering everything, right? Mainstream media being on the side of Democrats, us just coming off of winning an election, so typically we should be on the downslide in a time like right now going into the midterms, because the winning side typically loses in the midterms. Considering all of that, I think we're in a pretty darn good position. Now, that doesn't mean get comfortable, doesn't mean sit on your hands, especially when it comes to midterms next year. Now, midterms are a long way away, I understand that, but it doesn't mean we should sit on our hands, okay? I think we should continue to stay involved, stay engaged. If you want to really get involved, get hands-on, contact somebody like Scott Pressler. He's doing some fantastic work. Shout out to Scott Pressler. But yeah, man, considering everything, I think we're in a really good position. It's really looking great. And the Supreme Court just gave us another great ruling in our favor. So yeah, man, let me know your thoughts and your opinions in the comments. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.